country with rich culture, ancient heritage and long history. This is Pakistan. A young country with old nation, with diverse colors and races. Rising as an independent state in South Asia at the end of British colonial rule, Pakistan became the largest Islamic country in the world. The creation of Pakistan is the culmination of independence movement led by the Quaid-e-Azam, a leader with great vision and principles. Following Allama Iqbal's two-nation theories that the Muslims and Hindus are two different nations, Jinnah fought for the right of self-determination for Muslims of undivided India, for an independent homeland, and where they could practice their religion freely, where Islam is the state religion. Nature is kind to the country. It has snow-clad mountains in the north and beautiful and calm Arabian Sea on the south. The north offers unlimited destinations, both for local and foreign tourists and holiday makers, attracted for its natural and scenic beauty. Huge coastline of the Arabian Sea gives an edge to Pakistan and plays vital role as sea trade route of the region. Blessed with 4 clearly defined seasons: summer, autumn, winter, and spring. 5 historical rivers and high mountains, the Himalayas, the Karakoram Ranges. Pakistan is a land of diverse topography. Pakistan adopted its first constitution in 1973, giving federal system of government with 4 provinces: Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab and Sindh as its federating units. Islamabad, rising out of new land and a brand new city in 1960, is the federal capital and seat of the federal government. Nestled in the lush green Margala Hills, it is one of the most beautiful and modern capitals in the world. It is located on Pothohar Plateau and is the 10th largest city in Pakistan. Four provinces and Gilgit-Baltistan represent the diverse cultures and different ways of life of the people. While the common thread of Islam runs through the people of Pakistan, they have distinct and identifiable cultures of their own. Descending from the mountains of the north lies the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, famous for its valiant Pathan warriors and age-old tradition of hospitality. A Pathan will cook his last lamb and boil his last tea leaves for a stranger who has just become a friend. Peshawar, the capital of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, is the pride of Pakistan. Qissa Khwani Bazaar, the place of storytellers, is world famous for ancient and historical past. As the legend goes, the travelers and traders from Central Asia going into South Asia use this place to break journey and exchange stories of their ordeals, their failures, and their laurels. Hence the name Qissa Khwani Bazaar. Traditionally and culturally rich Peshawar is coveted jewel in our crown. Tarbela Dam is also located here. The province of Punjab is known as the fruit basket of the region. The plain lands of Punjab grow some of the best wheat. Fed by 5 rivers, hence the name Punjab, 5 waters. The province is famous for its hospitality, which shows its best face in Lahore, the provincial capital. City of Garden and Colleges, Lahore is also known for historical Mughal architecture, including Shalimar Gardens and Badshahi Mosque. It is in this historical city where the Muslim League passed 1940 Pakistan Resolution, which was the genesis of Pakistan. Resting on the banks of River Ravi, Lahore thrives on the vibrant beats of contemporary Pakistani culture. The festival of Basant, marking the end of winter and beginning of spring, is celebrated with excitement among rich and poor alike. It crosses social and financial boundaries. Balochistan, the land of courageous Balochis. The province grows huge variety of fruits and dry fruits. Known for its traditional saji lamb, cooked whole in open fire, Balochistan is the largest province area-wise. It is bounded by Iran on the west, by Afghanistan on the north, and by Makran coast of the Arabian Sea on the south. Since it lies outside the monsoon zone, the rainfall is very less. It is a land of cold winters and icy Quetta winds, the capital city. Sindh is also known as Babul Islam, the door to Islam, since Muhammad bin Qasim introduced Islam in this region. The province thrives in its huge coast along the Arabian Sea, which serves as vital sea route for trade and passenger ships. The fisheries are important export item. Karachi, the business hub of Pakistan, is the capital of Sindh. As an important business center in the region, Karachi draws advantage from its huge coastline. The people of Sindh are generous and culturally very rich. The handicrafts are world famous, generally done by women in colorful combinations. The skyline of Karachi is dominated by high-rise buildings and multi-storied plazas. The people are a delicate blend of all provinces, looking for better opportunities in life. The cosmopolitan culture of Karachi makes it the face of modern Pakistan. Let us now enter the villages and rural settings of Pakistan. Predominantly agricultural Pakistan rural scene is an exciting mix of hard work and culture. Here you see women in their colorful ethnic dresses working in the fields, singing songs of monsoon. The romance of rains live on. The rural festivals of spring and harvesting is always accompanied by songs and dances add colors to our rural lives. The fishermen and fisherwomen with their huge trawlers and small boats are like jewels dotted on the coastline. They are adding color to our culture and money to our economy. Pakistan is blessed with very fertile land. 5 major rivers and extensive network of tributaries and canals provide water irrigation complemented by natural beauty. Monsoon rains contribute significantly to our water reservoirs. Crops are cultivated in 2 clearly marked seasons, Kharif and Rabi. The staple crops are wheat, rice, cotton and fruits. Pakistan grows best Banaspati rice, which are famous for their aroma and taste. They are also our major export. Some of the finest cotton varieties are grown here. Pakistan is 5th largest cotton growing country in the world. The vast cotton fields in the south of the country are not symbol of our farmers' hard work, but also signify cotton's role in our economy. Balochistan has a unique system of underground canals for irrigation called Kares. Pakistan has made massive strides in telecom sector in the realm of communication and transportation. The telecom sector has achieved record growth in recent years. The railway and road network are centuries old. The railway plays a vital role in transportation of goods and passengers alike. The Grand Trunk Road built by Sher Shah Suri centuries ago is still a vital link, now aided by motorways and link roads. Pakistan International Airlines, PIA, the national carrier, is serving the country well and is continuously upgrading its services and aircrafts. Some privately owned air carriers are also in the arena of the country. Almost all major international airlines have Pakistan on their route and itinerary. The seaports of Pakistan are important for passengers and trade. Karachi is the major seaport and hurdles the major chunk of trade held by others like Gadani and Gwadar, which is now fully operational and provides deep water port facilities for trade and cargo. This is the story of Pakistan, which cannot be complete without introducing the spiritual side.
Thank you, Mr. Director. I had to very carefully navigate my way to the mic, and I think I was able to do that deftly. Okay. I'm very pleased to announce that we have Chief Minister of Gilgit-Baltistan amongst us today from Pakistan. That's the most beautiful part of Pakistan. That where you have some of the tallest peaks and some of the most picturesque places in the world. Today I think the last time I was here, we talked about the political issues. But today we are going to talk about just the economic, the investment side, and the tourism side of Pakistan. We'll start with the investment part first. Pakistan, as you can see, you've already seen the beautiful documentary. And that was more about the history of Pakistan and the provinces that we have. And and the cultural diversity of Pakistan. But in terms of the investment opportunities, I think right now, Pakistan being in one of those regions of the world which are most dynamic in terms of economic growth, which are rightfully termed as the emerging economies of the world. South Asia, where you have China on the one side, just bordering it. Then within South Asia, you have India, again with a very high rate of growth. Then Pakistan, now approaching 5% per annum. Sri Lanka, like Bangladesh. These are all very dynamic economies. In terms of the companies, foreign companies which are already doing business in Pakistan, we have about 1,000 there already. You see all these very familiar signs of very iconic companies. They're all present there in Pakistan. When we say geostrategic location, it's not in terms of politics. Now, here it is in terms of the world trade and business. Pakistan is located on the confluence of three very important regions of the world. It is in Southeast Asia. It borders East Asia, where you have which is like now the economic engine of the world. Then you have Middle East, the GCC in particular, the very rich GCC countries in the south. On the northwest, we have Central Asia. So the confluence of these three very important regions, and the fact that it is located in South Asia, which is now going to be the fastest growing region in the world economically for hopefully decades to come. That gives us it's a very good location to be. In terms of economic outlook, all the indicators that we have now in Pakistan are positive. For instance, whether we talk about the rate of growth, we talk about the foreign reserves that we have, that we are accumulating. We talk about the interest rate, which is pretty low, which is good for investment. We talk about inflation, which is historically low at a 40-year low. We talk about the budget kind of deficits, which is again drastically reduced. We talk about the the current account balances. Again, it's very, very favorable. Then again, in terms of the industrial growth, the growth in agriculture, the emerging middle class, a country of 200 million people, the emerging middle class, we're talking about 30, 40 million people. All that is very, very positive. On top of that, you have the investment policies, very investment-friendly policies of the government. Now this is a government by a political party. I was just talking to actually when I got this phone call, I had to talk to one of the chief ministers in Pakistan, who was very, very active in terms of the increasing the economic capacity. Because this is a very business-friendly government that we have in Pakistan. They understand business. They understand what business needs to prosper. So right now, the type of incentives that are being offered to investors within Pakistan and outside Pakistan are just amazing. For instance, tax holidays of up to 10 years. For instance, 0% duty for any machinery imports. For instance, full permission for remitting any profits abroad, or any even your capital abroad whenever you want it. No capital control restrictions at all. For instance, industrial parks have been set up where the government even provides land at a very concessional price. There are many, many other things. I can just go on and on that. And then again, the enabling environment is very positive. For instance, the financial markets, the way they are growing, the capital markets, they're very growing. Pakistani stock market has had an amazing bull run for the last few years, highest in the world. These are some of the figures here. the population, as you see, actually it's sort of, it's more than that now. It's almost 192 million. Then it's all a very young population. As you can see there, 27% of the population is from 20 to 39 years, and 60% of the population is within the sort of, that category, which you these days call young. In terms of the FDI, you can see sort of, it's sort of, much higher than the previous years. The exports and imports, we can see here, sort of, the gap between imports and exports that you see here is almost plugged by the remittances coming in the country. So it's a very balanced. Actually, we are having some slight surplus. Then again, we are at 5% now. In the coming few years, we could go over 7%. And that will be that magic number, because after 7%, that is the number where you start creating jobs to the desired level, because we have a rather high population growth rate, which is good because it gives you a very young population. But on the other hand, you need jobs for them as well, and you need a higher rate of growth. Youth, as I've already said, it's the biggest asset that we have. And it's not just youth, it's an educated youth. More and more, we are having a huge bulge of very educated youth, English-speaking youth for a big part, with international quality education, which would be crucial for any business. The stock index, I had mentioned that, it was one of the top 5 performers in 2013 and again in 2014. Investment climate, I mentioned, we allow 100% foreign ownership, full repatriation of profits, all types of investor protection. A full list regime is there for protecting the foreign investments. And then again, the low cost of working there in terms of the low corporate tax rate, the income tax, like exemptions and tax holidays as well, special economic zones, industrial estates with fully developed infrastructure and efficient, skilled and low-cost labor. These have been some of the numbers in terms of the investment trend. As you can see, basically, it's now an increasing sort of, curve, an upward trajectory. And the total has been about $20 billion in the last few years. In terms of where the FDI has been coming from, some of the biggest partners that we have are countries like America, for instance, UAE, and then again, China. China is huge. China has recently announced a $46 billion program for investment in Pakistan. That includes a huge level, sort of about over $25 billion worth of investment in the field of energy. And the rest is for infrastructure development, because they have this vision of one belt, one road, which would link all the countries which used to be on the erstwhile, the ancient Silk Road. And now they want to expand upon that as well. So Pakistan is a crucial linkage in that. So a huge level of Chinese investment would be coming, which would enhance the infrastructure in Pakistan, enhance the energy infrastructure in Pakistan, and make it the the corridor, the trade corridor for these 3 regions that I mentioned. These are some of the investment opportunities, particularly in terms of Germany, because Germany is a world leader in solar, for instance, in the renewables in general, but solar in particular. In Pakistan, we have established this Quaid-e-Azam Solar Park, an initiative of the Chief Minister of the Punjab. And already 5,000 acres of land has been allocated for 500 megawatts worth of projects. In terms of hydropower projects, we have immense potential. Just in Gilgit-Baltistan, whose Chief Minister is here with us, we have potential of about 50 to 60,000 megawatts. And out of that, about 20,000 megawatts worth of projects are in the pipeline. They're being worked upon. Then we have the coal power projects going on. Thank you. we have one of the biggest coal reserves in the world in a place called Thar in Sindh. And there we are putting some very big coal power plants. But with international standards, emission sort of control and everything. So these are not going to be very polluting, because these are the latest technology, particularly in terms of the pollution controls. Again, in terms of oil and gas exploration, there's a lot of foreign companies working in Pakistan, and there has been very positive news recently. Then these are some of the other opportunities: agriculture and livestock, information technology, consumer retail. Information technology is a very promising field. Pakistan now is one of the top 3-4 countries in the world with IT-skilled youth. And in recent years, the IT exports in Pakistan they've gone in billions of dollars now, and they're increasing in terms of geometric proportions now. We have they are not just working for others now, because in IT you can work, for any country while just being in Pakistan, as you know, because it's all online. Well, whether you're programmers or whether you are even if you are accountants or whatever, a lot of things you can just do online sitting in Pakistan. But now there are more and more youngsters they're setting up their own startups, which are expanding. Some of them are expanding at an amazing speed. Okay, now I'd move to in some ways, a more interesting part for many of our youngsters many of our travelers here. Pakistan, in terms of tourist destination, it has been called the best kept secret in the world because of the fact that in the last 10 years or so, we had this, Pakistan had been fighting terrorism for the whole world in some ways. And one of the costs of that was that the security situation deteriorated. And because of that, the tourism plummeted, of course. But now, the Pakistan, with the major victories in the field of in the area of counterterrorism, has resulted in an environment which is much, much secure. It's now as secure as most countries in Europe. And the most beautiful parts of Pakistan, many of which are in Gilgit-Baltistan, for instance, they're very secure. For instance, just to give you an example, in many other countries of the world, London, Paris, New York, these very tourist-friendly cities, they have big street crime problems. In India, tourists are facing a big problem of, those rapes that are going on and other problems. But in many of these areas, in the last 2 years, there have been literally no incidents involving foreign tourists, of any violence or any mishappening. Now, some segments of tourism which would be particularly relevant for Pakistan is adventure tourism, for instance, because we have some of the highest peaks in the world. We have 108 peaks over 7,000 meters. And 7,000, how many peaks there are in Europe over 7,000 meters? Pakistan has 108. We have peaks over 8,000 meters. We have out of top 10, we have 4 peaks. Number 2 is in Pakistan, as K2. Then we have Nanga Parbat. We have Rakaposhi. We have, some of these amazing peaks in the world. Then some of the largest glaciers, like some very scenic ones, like Baltoro, for instance, Batura, Hispa. The other side of tourism we have is the heritage tourism, because we are a country which is 5,000. We house the 5,000-year-old civilization of the world, the Indus Valley civilization. This civilization, which has relics like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, it was so advanced for its times that when Europeans didn't really have cities with streets, 5,000 years ago, probably people were still living in caves in some part of Europe, There were cities there in the Indus Valley which had sewage, which had drainage systems, which had sort of, like they were so well-planned cities. Sort of, you could find international textbooks saying that those were the most well-planned cities of that era in the world. They were most sophisticated civilization of the world in those times. So we have, UNESCO has designated 6 sites as the heritage sites in Pakistan. And UNESCO, again, 24 other sites have been sort of listed for cultural reasons. Then again, architecture tourism. You have amazing relics, buildings from the Mughal times, from the Sultanate times, from the Buddhist times, the Hindu period. Actually, some of the most sacred Buddhist relics in the world are in Pakistan. Even the most sacred Sikh relics are in Pakistan. Again, like I said, spiritual tourism. We have a huge number of those relics. Sports tourism. Pakistan is a very sports-loving nation. We were cricket champions in '92. Hockey has been our national sport. We have been probably after the World War, Pakistan was the country which won most number of times the Hockey World Cup or the Hockey Olympics. We have been champion in squash for more times than any other country of the world. Jahangir Khan, he won World Open 6 times, British Open 10 times. He's actually the only sportsman listed in Guinness Book of World Records who holds this amazing record that for 6 or 7 years, when he had a streak of hundreds of matches, literally hundreds of tournaments as well, he did not even lose a single match. He was invincible for all those years. No other sportsman has ever boasted that type of a record. Then in cultural diversity, it's a region so rich in culture, and people have so much penchant for arts that even trucks that you find in Pakistan, they are never devoid of art. In fact, there's a thing which is called now truck art, basically because even the trucks and buses and everything, they are all painted in different sort of, artworks. The vibrant colors of in terms of contemporary themes, fashion, for instance. Pakistan has an amazing sort of tradition of fashion. It's one of the very vibrant fashion scenes of the world. There's a huge fusion going on there. Besides the traditional dresses, now you see a fusion of Eastern and Western, a fusion of sort of, the Muslim and sort of, the other religions in that region. So, I think whenever I go to Pakistan, I think there are multiple fashion weeks sort of going on in different cities. Well, thank you. I just wanted to keep it very brief. If you have any questions or any comments, you can just spare a few minutes to to listen to you or respond to any queries you might have. Yes, please.
We have a wireless mic. Where was the question or comments? Okay.
Hello, my name is Linda. I'm a student from Kenya doing an MA here at the ICD. Definitely Pakistan is a well-kept secret, and I'm pleasantly surprised about the wealth of culture and the wealth of diverse opportunities that are in Pakistan. Now, my question is, what has been the impact of films that have created a Western bias or a preference for other countries other than Pakistan on the tourism sector in Pakistan, that have projected Pakistan in a way that is a terrorist zone or, yeah.
Thank you. I think it's a good question, because you see, that's one of the one of the problems, one of the challenges that we have, because the media perception, the media projection of Pakistan even has been rather biased in terms of the there are reasons for that. First of all, it's very easy for media to pick on the negative, because media is looking for the sensational. When I talk to people of media, they do, and we are very candid. They say, look, It's not a news if you have a beautiful mountain. That's not a news, But if a bomb kills 5%, that's news, So they're always looking for that kind of a news. And also because there's stereotypes, Because of, after the Russian invasion of Afghanistan, there was this whole period where they have a mujahideen fighting Russia, and we were helping them. And they were sort of, then of course what was happening there, the whole plague of terrorism, which besotted the region. We have recovered from that, but the stereotype is still there. The people still think that region is still unsafe, that region is still insecure, there's still extremists there everywhere, which is not the case. I'll give you a very interesting example here. I was ambassador to Bosnia about 7-8 years back. And a lot of people, when I used to meet in America or other countries, or even in Pakistan, they would say, "Oh, you're living in Bosnia? Is it safe there?" I would say 10 times safer than Washington, okay? I've lived in America as a student. I know how unsafe America was. The cities like Washington and Philadelphia, I've lived there in the 80s, like 90s. They were so unsafe. Washington was the homicide capital of the world. Philadelphia, they had to bomb a whole block. After 8, you couldn't venture out of the university because seriously, there was even in the university, if you had to walk alone, you had to call the walk service, and they would send somebody to accompany you, or they would send a bus, because they wouldn't even encourage people walking alone in the campus at night. It was so unsafe. And in Sarajevo, it was so safe that 3 a.m. in the night, you could walk anywhere. Because, the war had passed 10, 15 years ago. It had reconstructed. And after, wherever you have a big war, people become very pacifist after that, as the case in Europe here, So there was literally no crime there. Similarly, in Pakistan now, these days, the cities are so safe. Lahore, Karachi, and, Islamabad. I think they're much safer. To be honest, they're safer in terms of street crime. They're safer than the big cities, like, many of the big cities in America or Europe even, But the media, the media is still not projecting that sort of change. And that is a challenge we face. And to address that challenge partly, of course, we enlist the help of media as well. But that part of the reason that we interact directly with you all is that. Because you see, at times, it's word of mouth as well. This is the time and age of social media as well. Things. You have to address the problem at the grassroots then, because if the media doesn't play ball with you, then you have to find other ways. But we're trying to invite more media to Pakistan, and those who go there, they come back with very positive feedback. But the problem is that because there's so much else happening in the world, media's attention just keeps on swinging here and there. Because the U.S. election is taking place. There are things here in Europe, there are huge cataclysmic changes taking place in the Middle East. So the media attention sometimes, is on you when there are negative news to spread, but it's not on you when you have positive news to spread. Thank you.
I think there was another question next door, or here? Okay.
My name is Dr. Kraya from Pakistan Promotion Office in Frankfurt, and I have a question regarding what you are doing next or in the next 5 years really to promote tourism in your country. So what you are looking for investors for your country, but what you invest in the markets over here, because you have seen it at the ITB, there's a hard fight of every country to get the visitors from abroad. So what really Pakistan is doing? First question. Second question, what do you think would need to be done that the European airlines coming back to Pakistan?
On both counts, first of all, we'd be everywhere, trying to promote, this idea, visit Pakistan. We will do what it takes. We'll be at the fairs. We will be in, in direct interaction like today. We will be in the media. We will be we will be regarding the spendings. Okay, yeah. If you're looking for some numbers, basically, we of course, it is. We have a Ministry of Tourism in Pakistan, for instance. Then we have the provinces have their own ministries of tourism. And look, the emphasis we are paying here. The Chief Minister of Gilgit-Baltistan is himself here trying to promote the idea of tourism. It's not just about numbers, because I can give you some numbers. But it's not. I mean, it's not a moot of travel agents here. Basically, more than the numbers, what is important is the idea. Basically this idea that we have to spread, that Pakistan is back open for business. Pakistan is, is the new kid in the block again, in the sense because we had a hiatus of 10, 15 years. But we are back in terms of an excellent tourist destination, a tourist haven. So we are going to spread this message. Whether it takes money, where it takes money, yes, of course, where we have to spend, we'll spend. But also, it's not just about money. It's about spreading the word through whatever available media. It's about spreading the word through talking to people. It's about creating a buzz, through sort of word of mouth. So yes, it will be a multidimensional approach. Thank you.
Okay, final question here in the back, and then we have to go to the next speaker.
Good evening. I'm Arbenita from Kosovo. And initially, let me thank you for the speech. And I'm really happy that you are familiar with the region of Western Balkans, because you have already mentioned that you were ambassador in Bosnia. And I'm really wondering about the network that you are dealing and cooperating and targeting in the future and in current situation. For example, honestly, in Western Balkans, it is not well known about the Pakistan, its colorful resources that it has, and we do not have so much cooperation either in tourism, either in targeting and market. For example, why not to realize market with herbs, etc. Does it mean that you are targeting as a Pakistan only big economies and big countries, which will give you a huge amount of incomes? Or are you considering as well to include expanding the network with small countries? Because sometimes small countries will be really useful and suitable to complete the puzzle of the map of the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good point. I totally agree. For us, all countries are important. It's not just about the big countries. Because like I was ambassador to Bosnia. The best compliment that I got and that I got from the president of Bosnia at the time when I was leaving the country. He said, Ambassador, the other things, everybody does. But one of the things that you've done, which I admire, is that you've created a beautiful image of Pakistan in Bosnia. So I tried that. And, to a certain degree, because whenever you try something with conviction, with passion, it works. I was not accredited to Kosovo, I was accredited to Croatia, for instance, But in Bosnia, we enhanced that awareness. We really worked there, for sort of, for showing the, what I say, for showing the true face of Pakistan, not the distorted image of Pakistan that you basically get from a segment of media, And in that, all countries of the world, and particularly, of course, the friendly countries, like Bosnia is a great friend of Pakistan, like Germany is a great friend of Pakistan, we will be equally focusing on all of these countries.
Excellent. So on that occasion, let's express our sincere gratitude to the ambassador.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.